Hello and welcome to Indie Radio. I am one of your hosts, Kinte, all the way live, and I'm here joined by the wonderful, the beautiful, the talented from Hawaii, Jen. How you doing, Jen?
It's been so long since we've done a podcast together, Kinte, that I actually had to remember to where the unmute button was. So I'm
Oh
doing
wow.
I'm doing great, but technologically I might be slightly challenged.
Well, I feel you too because honestly, I really don't. I don't know what I'm doing. It's been so long. People have been asking me like when are you guys going to get going, right? And I'm just like, man, uh, the opportunity had to present itself, and it finally has. So I'm excited and looking forward to it. Uh, to this episode, we're going to do. We have two guests. They dropped off, but they're having a little technical difficulties. So hopefully we get them. Hopefully we get them. Sorry about that in the background. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Wait, here's John.
Hey, hello,
Uh,
y'all. Y'all hear me? Am I
yes, we
back?
hear you. Yes, we
All
hear
right.
you. And
Yeah, I'm
joining
over
us,
here out and about, and I ain't
we're
still ain't super familiar with the city, so I had to put on the GPS. I didn't walk the wrong damn
oh,
way.
we're live, man.
Yeah.
We're on air. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So let me introduce you to the audience.
Oh,
Joining us, yeah, joining us is John Dennis. How you doing, John?
hey, how you guys doing?
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, yes. My name is John Dennis. I'm out from California. I do a lot of stuff with multimedia. I have my own multimedia production company. Um, right now, I work for a nonprofit organization called Swim. My auntie runs it, or our auntie,
Yes, sir.
Diane Thompson, and I do all of the media and website design for the company, and I do a lot of stuff. So yeah,
Nice.
that's like my main thing now. Then have like small construction companies under my main company and DBAs and a bunch of little stuff. So I just do a lot of things really to just always learning and just keep from getting bored. That's why I do what I do.
Well, I'm
If I
glad.
break everything down, we don't have the time for all that. So yeah.
Well, I am glad that you are here, and hopefully we don't keep you bored. Alvin, if you are listening, there's some sort of issue with your. You need to reset. So I'm going to kick you, and then hopefully you can come back here. For some reason, it's saying device not connected. So uh, I don't know what's going on there. Oh, Renee's in the house. What's up, Renee? Um,
Renee.
Hey, Auntie Renee, AR. Right, it's AR, right? Renee.
yeah, yeah.
Not okay, good, good. I'm making sure.
Yeah. So, what we're gonna do is I want to make before we get into the nuts and bolts of what we're gonna talk about, and please forgive us for those who are listening. We are going to be talking about the hit film Sinners, the Ryan Coogler written and directed film, also starring the great Michael B. Jordan, Ellie Steinfeld, Jack O'Connell, and a lot of other folks in this film. And we're gonna start off by trying to stay away from spoilers. We're gonna start off with talking about the film generally, and then we're gonna tell people, for those who may not have seen it, we're gonna tell them that we're gonna get heavy into the spoilers. So the first section of this particular show will be non-spoilerific, which I know is sometimes hard because we want to jump to what we've seen and we want to talk about those things. So we're going to try our best to stay away from spoilers, and then we'll get heavy into the actual episode. So let's see. Do we got Alvin back? No, not yet. Okay, so let me start off by starting off with the writer director Ryan Coogler. Ryan. Oh, you're in here twice. There we go. Okay, let's start off by talking about Ryan Coogler. The first time I saw a Ryan Coogler film was the great film Fruitvale Station. And first of all, has everyone seen Fruitvale Station?
Oh yeah.
Did you see it, John? Fruitvale Station? Yeah,
Yeah,
terrific
yes. That
film.
movie was amazing.
It was amazing. Actually, you know what? I might fire that up tonight because I haven't seen it in quite a while. But it was a great film. And 10 minutes into the film, I knew we had that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just obvious that he was a great filmmaker, and that film, showed it in his debut film. So, let's start off with you, Jen. What was your thoughts about Fruitvale?
Oh, my thoughts about Fruitvale? Oh
Yeah,
God. First of all, I mean, I speak a lot about this, but from a technical perspective, that movie was better than just about anything than I could think of at the time. And I should have put this all together, but his, his ability to maintain focus on a scene, even when it's really tight, is so intense. It takes a lot to have a scene be in a specific location for an extended period of time and keep the audience interested in what's going on. And that's what Fruitvale Station does, basically. I mean, like, it's got, some very simple locations, but that was to me the hallmark of an excellent movie. On top of that, of course, the character performances were so good. And I can't think of a better movie to represent the kind of internal and external struggle of society. I mean, there's so many parallels to Sinners, the movie we're going to talk about today too. Um, there was a really deep, well done uh, beginning, middle, and end for this movie that really gave me that feeling of this is the struggle. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, no, you're right. And
Yeah,
just
yeah.
as a side note, we have our other panelist is here, Alvin Grimes. How you doing, Alvin? Alvin, can you hear us? Alvin? Uh-oh. Okay, we might.
I'm so tempted to use my David voice and go, Alvin!
Hopefully, we could get him back. That's so funny. He was in there, no problems, and then as soon as the show start, it's all these issues. But hopefully, Alvin will be
And that
back.
how it goes. That's how
Um,
it always goes. It can never be too
I
easy.
know,
It can
right?
never be that easy.
Right, right. Everything was working just fine. Okay, so what was your thoughts on Fruitvale Station, John, when you saw it?
Oh yeah, man. It's that movie was amazing because when I first saw it, like I heard about it, but I didn't really know the story. So now exactly
Hmm.
because I think I heard about what happened. The man who got smoked by them cowardly cops, but that's a whole nother thing, right? These fools were always reaching for their gun. That's a whole nother topic, right? But
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
I didn't know that the movie. I think after it happened, I found out. Oh, this is based off a true story. But just
hmm.
of course, technically it was great. It's just how good Michael B. Jordan was. His acting was in it. Like I love the way he played that character, and he was killing me with the what, Brad? Am I going to have to meet you outside, Brad? Like that. That was
Right,
funny as
right.
hell. Like just the way I was like, yep, that reminded me of some dudes. I know some dudes like that. And then
Right.
but yeah, that was just amazing acting. Just because how versatile Michael B is, you know. So and then he played that role correctly. Like like and this guy actually from the street. Like
Yeah.
like how you watch The Wire and it's just how good the actors portray those realistic type of characters, and it's not too over the top. Like it's like I know guys like that, and then
Right.
sometimes I have to be like that in a certain situation when you got to check people. So the hood comes out, right? The street comes out, even though
Hmm.
our family we have a mix of street dudes, education, and all that. And I'm part of that. Sorry, y'all, you guys. I was have to walk around the street, so
Hmm.
yeah.
No,
Now
you're good.
I'm in a much better environment now. So, but yeah, so just yeah, I'm able to relate to characters like that. The struggle I had to go through and all. That's a realistic movie. But yeah, that was an amazing movie. And like you said earlier, Kinte is worth. It's funny. I feel weird calling you Kinte and not Uncle Kinte. So whatever you guys are gonna have to deal with it. It's a respect thing. If you can't handle it, oh well. but but like yeah. So yeah, there's a very realistic portrayal of a character. Somebody I can actually relate to. Like I said, I think every black man in America, especially from because he was based out of L.A., right? That
No,
character.
no. Oh no, no, it was in the Bay Area.
Oh, that's Bay. Okay, yeah, pretty much where I'm at right now. I'm like north of the Bay, but yeah. And then meeting Bay Area dudes, when somebody that a good friend of mine now, we just see those type of characters. It's just that's that type of guy, and he portrayed that perfectly, just like he does in a lot of his movies. He portrays these realistic type of characters. So yeah.
And if it make you feel better, you can call Jen Auntie Jen as well.
Well, remember,
Hey,
remember, you got to earn that title. So yeah.
in Hawaii out here, everybody who is basically your elder, you call them
Ah,
auntie. Every single person. We're all aunties. So all good. All good.
Wow. Okay. So I'm so sorry, you guys. For some reason, Alvin is still saying device not connected. I don't know. It says they will need
Latest audio. Please say a command.
they would need to kind of connect their mic. Oh wow. You guys. It's been a while. Uh, when I'm gonna kick you one more time, Alvin, and then make sure that you select your mic in your video. Sorry. This is we're gonna have to edit this later to make it look like it went really smooth. Okay, so all right, so um, one more thing I want to get to before we get to the film Sinners is Michael B. Jordan part of it. Uh, when he did this movie called Chronicle, which I want to say was a year before um, Fruitvale Station, and he wasn't the lead in that film. He was maybe what was he about the third lead in that movie,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. He was like the supporting cast. I was like, yeah, like pretty much like the third supporting cast character. Yeah,
I want to say that me and you saw that together, right? Didn't we see that
yeah,
together in
yeah.
the
We
theater?
saw that. We saw that in theater. Yeah,
Yeah, but you knew watching that movie that this dude was a star. Even in that role, it was like you saw the charisma, you saw all these traits that we see Michael B. Jordan as that guy. But to
Oh,
me, it
absolutely.
was in Chronicle when I first, because I think I even told you then. I said this dude's a star. Where's he been since The Wire? I
yeah,
didn't even see
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Friday. I didn't see Friday Night Lights, which I hear good things about that TV show. But and I heard he was very charismatic in that as well. So, but when I saw that movie Chronicle, I was like, oh, Michael B. Jordan, he's gonna be one of them dudes. And so that was what got me on the path of him as an actor. And then of course they went on and did Creed and the Black Panther films, and now we're here at Sinners. So let's talk about Sinners. One thing about Sinners is that it's hard to put it in one's particular specific genre. I don't know if this is a spoiler at this point, but the film does have vampires as a part of the storyline. But to put it as I wouldn't even call it a straight up horror film. Wait, would you guys call it a straight up horror film?
No way.
no,
It's
No,
not a straight
no.
up horror.
It's
no.
more of like a thriller, but that's what's amazing about it. It's just it transcends many genres. Yeah,
Right. And
pretty much. Yeah, it is. You can't
com-
categorize it.
people keep comparing it to From Dusk Till Dawn, and I like From Dusk Till Dawn, but I don't.
It was not From Dusk Till
No,
Dawn. I'm sorry,
no,
I
but
don't think I've
no.
no.
That
seen
is
that movie.
that
Yeah,
is the most provincial way to look at this movie that I that I hear fairly continually. And I get it because people, the thing is, people haven't been exposed to a movie both that is so genre bending, that's number 1, and 2 that has this multicultural massive piece in it, and people just are not used to it, so they go to the thing that they know the best, and Dusk Till Dawn is that. But this is so worlds apart from that that it is not a great comparison.
I think people, the Dust Till Dawn comparison is because the first half of the movie is a whole other genre, and then it
Right,
becomes a vampire movie,
right.
and it's, for
Hmm.
those who didn't know going into it are completely shocked by the change because there's no
Yeah, I
hint.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't know. I kind of had a hint. My sister was. I was talking about. Hey, man, they don't make real vampire movies since like the old Dracula with Keanu Reeves and like Blade. They always got these
Right.
little soft vampires. And she was like, "You seen Sinners?" I went, "Nah." She was like, "Yeah, check that out." So I forgot that we talked about that. So when I started seeing it, I was like, "Oh, wow, this is a vampire movie," but you didn't really know. So it was
Right.
excellent for me not seeing anything about it and then just going in. So yeah, to reiterate what you just said, Uncle Kente, yeah, I was that audience member. Like, okay, this is dope. This is a bootlegging movie. Okay, this is cool. Wait a minute. Oh shit, this is a vampire movie, and
Yeah.
and it just goes crazy. Yeah, I love it.
All right. So let's check on Alvin. Are you with us?
Yeah, man. I feel like I've been on an adventure. I've been all over the place. I've been in Instagram. I'm not the most tech savvy person, so I've been everywhere.
No.
But I'm here. I'm
All right.
sorry.
You
So
made it.
so so what
Yeah.
we started off the conversation about Sinners, talking about how people are trying to pigeonhole it into the horror genre, but where our take is that it's more than just a horror film. What about you? What genre would you give it, a specific genre, horror or whatever, or how would
Well,
you?
what ticks me off about it is the whole Dust to Dawn thing that everybody keeps trying to latch hold to it on.
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what we were just
I
saying.
I mean it's ridiculous. As the saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun. And if you can't see where, all right, they may have looked at Dust to Dawn and went, that's interesting. Because basically, it's also, you could also compare it to Night of the Living Dead. You have a few
Mhm.
people in a space that is rapidly shrinking with a hostile force on the outside and their own personalities on the inside. All right. And that creates great tension, you know. But
The thing is,
I what really got to me about it was the heroism, the sacrifice, the love,
mhm.
okay, of the people that were in there. The way everybody, yeah, they may have had their differences, but everybody was pulling together to overcome this common foe, right?
Oh, now,
That
by the way, we are at this point we're not going to get heavy into the spoilers, but then we're going to announce to the audience that we're going to get into spoilers. So let's talk,
oh, I'm
without giving
sorry.
away. Yeah, no, that's fine. It's fine. We're good. You were good.
So, I get just let the movie breathe like a glass of wine. Let it breathe. Let it, pour it and let's drink and have a good time. Stop looking to pigeonhole and buttonhole everything. Everything doesn't have to be in a slot or in a neat
Exactly.
place. It's
Yeah,
like,
can I,
it's like
Okay, okay,
it's
okay. I'm gonna say something that maybe it's not controversial. Maybe it's not what everybody wants to hear, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Okay.
okay. Come on.
Okay. So most people who say this about sinners equals dusk till dawn, let's be real, they are white people. And I'm not dissing on white people. I happen to be one of them. Hopefully, I'm a good representative here.
You are.
But yeah, yeah, amazing. I didn't recolor my avatar. Um, okay, but here's the thing. But here's the thing. The thing
Hmm.
is, and this is what I think that people need to really go into Sinners understanding. This movie is exactly about those people who pull the whole meaning of Sinners into Dusk Till Dawn. That is, they
Mm.
reappropriate all of the culture, all of the symbolism, all of the deep meaning, and then they assign it a super simple, hey, this is just George Clooney dressed up differently, blah, blah, blah. That is not what this is about. It is absolutely not what it was ever intended to be. And look, I love Dusk Till Dawn. That's like one of my favorite movies. But the differences are enormous between Sinners and Dusk Till Dawn. And Sinners, I said this to Kinte the moment that I saw this movie. This movie is probably the best movie that I've seen in a good 10 years. And
Okay.
look, I see a lot of movies. I mean, I
Yeah.
am we do podcasts on movies. I watch movies continually. The reason that this movie hits so deep and Dusk Till Dawn didn't is because of all of the cultural stuff that's inside of it. And it's a little bit like saying, hey, if you want something really tasty and nutritious for breakfast, go have a Cadbury egg instead of having an egg. It is not the same
Mm.
thing. It's wrapped and dressed like the same thing, but it is not the same thing, and it does not have the same amount of value underneath it. So again, I don't want to diss anybody for going, oh, Dusk Till Dawn, I see all the references. Of course, there is that piece, but it is so much deeper than what you
Yeah.
see in Dusk
Because
Till Dawn.
it really portrays the blues man as as the shaman, as the person
Yes.
who's walking in both worlds. He's walking in the world, but he's also walking in the spiritual realm. It's like where you could go to church. You go, you're listening to the blues, you're listening to God, but you're in a whole different place because it strides both worlds. That's what I'm trying to say. And the
Right.
blues man is mythical. You know, he's mystical, he's mythical, he's like I said, he's a shaman, and he's calling up the spirits. And what I dug about is when the vampires were like, well, can we come in, because we want to play some music too. And I'm like, but what was cool was the stuff that they was doing was funky though. Okay, they had their own music and it was good. All right, but it just can't come in here.
Right. Pico
Yeah,
Robin clean. Yeah.
yeah. I Because I'm big on that Celtic stuff. I love that stuff, man. It's like,
Right.
ooh, yeah. You know,
It's
maybe go ahead, darling.
I was just gonna say that, like, this cuts so deep because the vampire, the head vampire, right? His
Mhm.
idea is that, and I don't think I'm being spoilery by saying this, but his idea is he wants the stories, and the way that the culture was bringing forth stories was through the blues. The
Mhm.
songs are the stories, and it's still the way that it is today. The songs are the stories are the culture. And he wanted in on that so badly that he was
Mhm.
willing to, and I know, this the extended metaphor is huge here, but he was willing to basically suck dry
Mm.
everything that was who they were in order to get to the marrow, that goodness, which is their stories. That is an
Mm.
incredibly massive piece of storytelling that should not be overlooked. It is,
Mhm.
again, it's one of the reasons that I feel like this movie is just a transcendent piece of art. It goes so far across so many different ideologies, including the base religion of things, the
Mhm.
differences and the similarities, the ideas of what makes people behave the way that they do, how it's different, how the seven deadly sins are all represented. I mean, all of these things are all part of that movie. So I
Mhm.
just want to make sure that, like, nobody should walk into this movie and feel like, oh, if I watch it one time, that's going to be enough. It's not. Trust me, it's not.
Oh no, yeah,
I'm probably
I've seen
gonna
it
go
3 or
this
4
weekend to
times.
see it again. Uh,
I've seen it
The
3 times.
music alone is
yeah, yeah,
worth
yeah,
viewing twice.
Um,
yeah.
let's talk about the cast, right? Because we mentioned Michael B. Jordan a little bit earlier, and we'll get more heavy into him. But I want to. But really, he's really not the star of the movie in a way. Really, Miles Canton's character, who's is really the preacher boy, is really
Yeah.
the main character.
Sammy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sammy.
I love the way he says that. I love it.
That is so funny. That's
Sammy.
funny. For the rest of my life now, anybody named Sammy is
Yeah. Sammy.
come here, Sammy.
Right. And when
But
you say it like that, when somebody talks to you like that, especially a white dude from the South, a boy is followed by
Yep.
Sammy, get over here, boy.
come here, Sammy.
But he couldn't get away with that.
I mean,
He kept,
what's so crazy?
hoping.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But I'm like when you see him the first time, you're like, oh, I must have seen him in something else. No, this is his first role ever.
That's
He
amazing.
wasn't even an actor. He's a very good vocalist, and he learned how to play the guitar in 2 months to play in this movie. He said,
That's insane.
yeah, I studied for 2 months, and now I can play the guitar. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, you
Wow.
play like that. Yeah,
I kept.
you got to be studying for a little bit more than 2 months to
He
play
said it
like
was
that.
2 months. He said it was 2 months.
I
I
kept
don't know
hoping that the
about that one.
Choctaws would come back. I
Who?
I thought the Choctaw Indians were going to make another appearance. Okay,
I thought so too.
Yeah,
because
I know.
they
Yeah, that one part where it was like you heard that noise, but it was the white folks. I thought that they were coming, like, oh yeah, they were about to, come in and help out, throwing some tomahawks or something, hitting them with some arrows. Nope. But yeah.
yeah,
No.
but they kept it an all black thing, but because they had experience in dealing with these things.
Mhm.
In the very beginning, they had put a whooping on dude. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he
Yeah, it's really
was
work.
not a happy camper. They, and go ahead.
Well, no, I was saying I was going to get into that, but I really wanted to Miles. The movie only works if you cast that role right. Like the movie, if he wasn't right, like I hate to do this, I'm about to throw somebody under the bus, but there was a movie about Tupac, right?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
The guy looked just like Tupac. Honestly, I think that is one of his kids. I don't care. There's reasons for me to say that, but that dude just wasn't. He didn't work. He wasn't Tupac. He looked like him. If you turn the volume off, he looked like Tupac, but he wasn't.
Right.
His performance wasn't very good.
Mhm.
So for him to come in and not only do the singing good, which he already could sing, and play guitar, but also the acting was phenomenal, and he
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
great.
because
That young man, oh my,
he was able to share scenes with some veterans. Okay, you're in the same scene with Delroy Lindo, right?
mhm.
And you're
Yeah,
holding
rest
your
in peace.
own. Yeah, and you're holding your own. It's
And
like the
Haley
first time I saw.
Steinfeld. Haley Steinfeld's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah, she was really good in this. She's I know I first seen her in that movie with Jeff Bridges. I think that was her breakout thing. We saw that too,
True
right?
Grit, True Grit, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and she's really, really good. And she always plays like those strong women type characters too. But she's excellent in whatever she plays. Yeah.
But you know what, Kinte? I think there is something about Miles that I mean, maybe this is just me projecting into the movie, but there is something about blues singers in particular, right? That there's something about both the cadence and the ability to communicate effectively through song that blues singers seem to have. I feel like this is the whole point about meeting the devil at the crossroads and making a deal that, hey, you'll be rich, and because how else could you possibly be rich and famous if you are playing the guitar, just have your voice, and you're black? Like, you can't possibly be rich and famous if that's all you've got. And it is so totally clear to me that Miles can communicate that kind of soul through his music. And that's a gift. That is not something that just everyone has. It's
Well,
not
that
something that most people have.
well,
And it
let
comes
me
from him, right?
yeah, let me come in on that one just from what I know about the blues. So, art and creativity in general is when we do something creatively, like everybody in there is a creative, right? Where that comes
Mhm.
from is it's essentially an expression of your inner spirit, of really who you are, your personality and everything. So creativity kind of, some people say the ether or the divine or whatever, that's where it comes from. And we're just conduits from it and we put it out here in the physical, right? So
Right.
when you have blues, first of all, just what it's like being a black man in America in any era, right? Especially the blues. They're coming off of they're sharecroppers and all of that. That's like Reconstruction era right after slavery. So you have all of that spirit in there, the hard working out in the fields. I mean, they're picking cotton in the movie still, right? As sharecroppers. And that whole
Right.
corrupt sharecropper system, right? What that is. So you have, people, a lot of them, especially the older ones, just were probably born in slavery and all that too, even some of the younger ones, right? This is right after like abolitionist era, right? So like the blues comes from that really like a tormented spirit in a way, but it's our coping mechanism of how to deal with reality. But that's just what creative is anyway. So you that's why it's the blues, right? What that represents, right? And then Uncle Alvin could definitely attest to this because how good of a musician he is too. But like this is that music, like you said, you feel it. Like Jen, you can feel it, right? Because that's just Coogler did a great job in writing that. The actor did a great job portraying that, but that's just what blues is. All music is supposed to be like that, but blues is really that's a tormented spirit singing out. But also
Mm-hmm.
we have to cope with what we're doing. So we found a way to exist in a really shitty reality. And
And
that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
what blues
and,
is like,
and
but
the
it's beautiful as
counterpoint
well.
to that, the counterpoint to that is in the beginning of the movie we see religion, and we hear This Little Light of Mine, and that music in its super simple let's just call it an overly simplistic uh piece of music. It's there's a real simple arrangement to it. It doesn't require a lot, but it still has some real kick to it. The religion itself then is the counterpoint to the blues, which I absolutely love. It makes so much sense. It's not that they can't coexist, it's that they are on totally different levels. And the
Well,
movie does such a great job portraying that.
now when you just and when you talk about that, right? The gospel and the blues, especially gospel, that comes from slave field music,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
This is
That's what I'm
the
saying.
origins of that. The origins of really American music, period, is slave music. So those hymns and all of that, if there wasn't some old African stuff that was passed down to them or native, you're right. Not everybody was African. It's a mix, right? If we know the history and genealogy. But anyway, so it's just whatever you heard, and then a lot of so gospel and blues has to coexist. It comes from the same place. So of course you get the religious zealots who want to say it's the devil's music. It's not. It all comes from the same place, and then the pain and all that is still within it. It's just,
Yep.
these are past them. But like when you mentioned the song, This Little Light of Mine, break that song down. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Is it you talking about your expression of your spirit, who you are? That's why I
Oh,
wear all of this and all that. That's what it is. This little
that's
light of
right.
mine, I'm going to let it shine. It's
That's
a very deep song, right? But yeah.
you're you're absolutely right. My point here was that the music style itself carries with it an importance. And we see it again when our vampires do their song. Well, they
Hmm.
do their 2 songs, but we see it again. And it's that everybody has their own expression of their story, of what's important to them, of how they're wanting to communicate with the world with their music.
Mm,
The whole
okay.
film keeps reiterating again and again and again that this is the important thing. The important thing is that you have a story, you put it into music, you send it out to the rest of the world. The the differences in the music style are not to say that one music style is better or above or below another. It's to say, this is my perspective. Here's your perspective. This is what your perspective is. And here we are all trying to talk to each other through music, and we're all hearing something different.
Now,
Mm.
one thing I definitely want to, as we just kind of run through the cast and then we'll get deeper into the story, is Miles Catton, great performance. Now, his father, the preacher, is played by, I don't know if you guys know, the great poet Saul Williams, who I didn't recognize him at first when I saw it the first time.
Mm.
So the second time when I saw him, because I kept seeing Saul Williams was in it. I was like, who was he? And then I was like, oh my God, he's the because he didn't got old, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He's a fantastic musician, poet.
Hmm.
You know,
I'd never heard of him until
He's
right
really.
excellent.
now.
He-
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
excellent.
you,
He
you
makes
would love
really
him.
good
He's
points.
like
Yeah.
he's legit for real. So
And you say his
Oh,
name is Saul?
you'll love him. You'll love him too, like that.
oh yeah,
Especially on the lines of your stuff, right? I really don't like the devil. Like, yeah, I think you'll
Yeah.
definitely dig his stuff.
oh yeah, he's one of our great poets of all time. And
And
Yeah.
his name is Saul?
Saul Williams, yeah, he
Saul
was in a
Williams.
movie
Okay,
called
okay.
Slam back in the
Yeah,
day.
I saw
That's
Slam.
him. That's him. He's the main guy. He's the poet in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he's
Okay,
fantastic.
okay. I was more caught up on the woman that was in it though. She really
Oh,
caught my
from
eye.
The Wire.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
Kima
oh.
from The Wire.
I
Oh
liked her
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, she was good in Slam.
She's good
Yes,
looking.
yes indeed.
All right, so we
Yes.
also
Yeah.
have Omar Miller, who's fantastic.
Oh man,
Uh,
you know what? Omar Miller's um performance when he is asking to come back inside. That is the most recreated scene on TikTok that there is.
yeah,
There are more
Yeah.
TikToks about that particular scene, like that hit people hard.
yeah. And you know, he was that role was written for him. Ryan Coogler
Nice. You can
wrote
see
that role
that.
for him. So
You
Wow, okay.
can see it.
he and then also you have, of
Wait,
course,
was that
you know,
that was the big dude, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
cornbread.
Yeah.
He was the one who played the guy,
cornbread,
right? I need to open up
cornbread,
IMDb real quick. So
yeah,
yeah,
cornbread.
cornbread. Yeah. Okay.
And we have Jamie Lawson, who is Perlene, who is the mayor of Gotham in the Batman as well as Penguin.
She was
Now,
amazing too. Damn.
oh my
She's got a voice
God.
too.
Oh
She's
my God. That
gorgeous.
scene where she and Miles were, about to get it on, and she goes, I walked all the way here. I was like, oh no, that's great.
Oh my God,
Oh, I
yeah.
love that
But
scene.
you know what's funny about it is that scene. I didn't
Mhm.
realize when I first saw it that they had foreshadowed it when he's in the
Yeah, you were
car.
telling me that.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
When I saw it again, I was like, "Oh, they foreshadowed him going down on her." You know, I didn't realize it. I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh wow!"
that was too good.
It,
I was
it
like,
certainly seemed like a good idea. I'll just say that.
Yeah, no, she's a terrific actress.
Oh
And
yeah.
Now,
I ain't gonna
I
lie.
heard,
Hey, I tell you this, I can identify with his position on that one.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can watch later. I thought also, I heard someone mention like she might be a good Storm,
yes,
and I'm like, that makes a
Hmm.
lot of sense. She
Yeah.
could definitely do Storm.
you
You
know.
know.
Well, I don't want to say. I'll say something because this is kind of spoilerific when it comes to her character. Just remind me if you guys remind me to mention something with her character
Okay.
once we get in the spoiler territory. Now, of course, we have
Okay.
Haley Steinfeld, who we all remember her as in True Grit. She played, that was her first role, and then she was
She
in
was
like
such
Pitch.
a little baby in
I
that.
know, right? She's a little
Oh my
kid.
god.
And Pitch Perfect, and she was in not Arrow, Hawkeye. She
Oh yeah, Hawkeye. That's
Yeah,
right.
Hawkeye. She was really good in Hawkeye too.
yeah, so so she's good. And then Delroy
He's
Lindo,
not even 30 yet. How?
Delroy Lindo, who in a lot of ways steals the
Uh,
movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Delta Slim.
Delroy Lindo. I honestly think Delroy Lindo is underrated. Like,
I
like,
agree.
it's like the industry about that whenever he's on screen, like,
Yeah,
him and like Clarence
wait,
Burton's character.
John, you're T painting.
Well,
You're auto tuning.
Auto tuning.
Yeah, I was wondering where that was
is that
coming
better?
from. That was deep.
Let me see. We talk.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Hello?
Yeah.
There you go.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, Delroy Lindo is super underrated. Like people know, and of course, it's messed up when somebody dies. And that's not how you work. I mean, it's power means a lot. But anyway,
Yeah, you T painting.
yeah, like anytime he's in a movie,
Yeah, you're T
he's
painting again.
like,
John, you're T
oh
painting.
my god!
Just go out and come right back in. And then
All right.
Okay, so if Delroy is in it, you have to watch him because he will steal the whole movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's just got that thing about him. Delroy's a badass. You
Oh
put
man,
anything
West
you put
Indian
him
Archie.
in, yes, and also in Clockers too.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, he's a great actor. Heist. Remember the movie Heist with Gene Hackman? It was a David Mamet story, and he tells the story of he's like they're about to rob something, and he goes he tells this young guy who's talking blasphemous. He said, "Hey, don't do that blasphemy stuff. I know it." He said, I knew this guy. He would pray every time before we would rob a bank. And you know what? We got in the shootout. He said we got in the shootout, and you know what? That Bible he kept in his top pocket, it stopped that bullet from going in his heart. And he says, and if he had one more Bible covering his face, he would have survived.
That's funny.
Well, wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, wait, run that back. What I miss? What I miss?
Oh no, I was telling this line from this movie Heist that Delroy Lindo was in.
You know what else I liked him in was where they were the apple pickers, and he was having relations with his daughter.
Oh, yeah. Or was that Eve's Bio? Was that?
No. Oh God, they were. It was him. Was it Matthew Broderick? God, what? Sure. Oh, come on! You got to know what I'm talking about. They were seasonal fruit pickers, and they came up to this apple orchard, and they were picking apples, and he was having sex with his daughter.
Nah, I probably skipped that one. That sounds like some shit I would skip.
that was Delroy Lindo too, and it was an amazing film. Oh, shoot.
I gotta look at that one.
Is it Cider House Rules? Is it Cider House Rules?
That's what I said. That's what I said. Cider House Rules. Yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
Cider House Rules.
That was good, man.
That was such a good book. That was like one of my.
Yeah, I saw it. No, it was Tobey Maguire.
That's who it was. Okay, Toby, Spider-Man. Yeah. And he was getting it on with the woman who the mistress of the apple orchard, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I remember.
I thought that was a great Delroy, man.
And the last person I want to get to real quick, and then we'll get in more into the story is Wumi Mosako.
Yes,
I believe that's how you pronounce her name.
I fell in love with her with Lovecraft Country, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was fabulous.
Yeah. She's fantastic in this film. She really gives a great performance, and she's really the heart of the story. and
Yeah.
she serves as that, in a movie that has horror elements. You always got to have that one person who knows what's going on. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
the one person that's enlightened who can tell you what we're dealing with, and she serves that role in there. And but they do it in a good way though. They establish it makes sense, that she would know what's going on. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
exactly.
like
Because
like
she's
like
in the whole hoodoo. Yeah, the hoodoo alchemy
Or,
stuff. Yeah.
it's not
or
like Tony Todd in Final Destination, where he's like,
Oh yeah.
why does this Negro know all this? you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
or
Tony Todd is just the Deus Ex Machina. She actually
right,
knows all this. So it was like because and then after just how they established her character, like I said, she would know exactly what
right.
that is. So
yeah.
that was one of the better parts of that movie, which is so different from other stuff like that. Besides like witchcraft stuff, where there's the witch they've been doing it for a while, so they know what they're dealing with, or like,
Yeah. Or
but
like or like Gandalf.
Hmm.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, like or
who's
Harry Potter stuff, where certain people like, okay, this is exactly what's going on. She knew that because of her training and everything. It's just the whole hoodoo thing and how they put that in there too. Is yeah, that was actually really cool. That was just a great history lesson of African American spiritualism, the whole hoodoo
right?
thing that I
She
didn't even
she
realize that was a thing until there was
she
one part in the movie. They was like, yeah, let me get some of that high John, and I remember Tariq Nasheed mentioned it, and I had to look that up. Like, oh, whoa, this is actually a herb. I'm like, okay, and then they
Oh, you
mentioned
talking
that in the
the
movie. So if
Conqueror
you're
route?
into that, you get it.
You talking about John the Conqueror route, right?
Yeah, that root. Yeah, and then other
Yeah,
stuff she
yeah,
was
yeah.
talking about. Yeah. So if
Oh,
you're into
I
that,
thought it
like
was
those
just
people,
I thought it was just John when he's high.
Uh,
hey, let me get that down. I knew something,
and
I
but I knew that was coming.
I
and the
I
fact
I
that
totally blame Annie, her character. I totally blame that character for making me
Oh yeah,
cry at the end of that movie. I mean,
yeah.
like I'm not even look.
Hey,
I don't
we're
mean
gonna
that
get
like
to it.
I
Yeah,
don't
no
cry
spoilers.
often, but cry
We're
I
about to get
did.
to it. We're about to get to
So
it. We're gonna get
I
to
won't
it.
say why I cried. I'll just say it takes a lot to
But
make me cry.
love her. She was great. Okay,
Yeah.
so now let's just get it. We're for those who are listening who haven't seen the movie yet. We're gonna have a more open conversation now, and we will get into the spoilers. So,
Ki-
if you haven't seen the movie or if you don't care, some people want to be spoiled. So, I've had people who are like, just tell me everything. It's probably better that you don't. But yeah, we're about to get into spoiler territory. So
Can I
you've
say
been
one
warned.
thing
Sure.
before we hop into that? So I watched a really great sort of behind the scenes thing about Sinners, and of course one of leave it to me to be like film geek about it, but I was so impressed with the level of perfection that Ryan Coogler went through, including creating a different kind of technology for his films, for the film shooting, so that everything was at exactly the precise height and width basically inside of the screen for each of the scenes that Smoke and Stack were in. And it's that level of perfectionism that makes this movie work. So much so that I was telling Kinte the other day, so much so that I had people ask me, really? It was the same person? Like they didn't know that it was one
wow.
person playing both people. Right. And that I feel like if that's the level of deception that a movie maker can convince you of, you've done a good job. On top of that, I got to say one more technical thing about this film. The use of aspect ratio in this film in a number of different scenes had me on my knees. As somebody who can only sit back, I'm not behind the camera. I wish I was. I'm not behind the camera. And to see someone bring that level of technical perfection with the use of aspect ratio is something that you just don't see. A lot of times it ends up looking real ham-fisted and it just doesn't fit. In this case, it absolutely worked. It worked from bringing it from narrow into this wide open,
Yep.
almost experiential. You almost felt as if not just you were in the scene, but you were getting sucked into the scene. It was so incredibly good. So I just had to mention those things because I don't know if they'll come up as a part of our discussion of story, but from a technical standpoint, damn, this was so good.
Oh no, I
You know what?
agree with you
Let me
100%.
yeah. Let me piggyback off that from somebody who is behind the camera. That's my main thing. Yeah. So when you just broke it down like that, it reminds me of the master of that, Sergio Leone, right? So like,
Right.
so it had that type of feel, like just looking at somebody's eyes or a close up, then a wide angle shot, and standing there before somebody gets shot, like it where like and it just Coogler, just the way he moved camera, the director of photography, all of that was crazy, and I was blown away by the technical, especially when you watch it in IMAX. It's how that's supposed to be seen in IMAX. Film with the
Right.
IMAX cameras, the sound design, the 360-degree sound design that you can only hear in IMAX or a specific type of headphones with a certain setup that allows that to be played back. It's one of those where if you don't see it with that setup, you do not get that experience, especially that
Also,
one scene, which we'll talk about later. But
also, did you catch the absolute, like, and I mean, I'm gonna call it out for brilliance because I think it was brilliant. But did you catch the absolute brilliance of the editing in this thing too?
yeah,
Because
oh yeah,
there was absolute rhythm in every single scene. Like I felt as if I was cinematically in a visual form watching music, like watching it happen, because every scene had its own sense of rhythm and time, and it all transitioned together. And that, to me, that it was like, you know how it is when you like have something that tastes really good and you're like, oh man, this is really good, and then somebody cooks it who's a five-star chef and you go, oh
So
my
you mean
god,
someone like
I
me?
didn't I did not. There you go, Kinte. Yeah, like Kinte.
yeah.
Kinte
To
makes
me
it.
too. I'll be going
And
in.
you're like, "Oh my god, I didn't know that this could taste so good." That's exactly how I felt. Like, wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Okay, so let I want to do this segment of this is called living vicariously through the characters. And there's moments in this movie where you don't want to be in that situation, right? But then there's a
Mm.
few moments where you're like, that's pretty effing cool. And I want to jump to the end, and then we'll go back, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love the Tommy gun. And
Oh
little
yeah.
guy
That
knows
whole.
this. I love the Tommy gun. It looks cool as hell. And that
Mm-hmm.
scene where he's got the Tommy gun and he's just like letting off on those Klansmen, that scene just blew. First of all, it blew the roof off of the first time I saw it in the theater. Um, that's pretty cool. It's a great shot, and it's
Mm.
effing cool scene.
Literally, hey, literally is a great shot.
Right, that's cool. And when he throws the grenade in the car, cool, great scene. Um, Also, another scene living vicariously through the characters is when when Miles is performing that big number where you can see the past and the present all merged together
In the future.
in the future, and that scene is just so remarkable. It's like every time I've seen it 3 times now, and I did see
Mm-hmm.
it on IMAX with John. Right, we saw it on IMAX together, right?
Yeah.
And that
Now I
scene,
want to break that scene down too. Like, but go ahead.
yes, that scene is so great, and the way that, because like that scene could have been horrible, right? If not the right person
Oh, it
directed
could
it,
have easily been corny, but go ahead. Go ahead.
right? And just the way that the song. First of all, this kudos to Raphael Sadiq wrote that song. I
Damn.
lied, and so kudos to him, Bay Area legend, by the way, Raphael Sadiq from
Mm-hmm.
the great group Tony Tony Tony. And
Yep.
that's
Lucy Pearl. Yep.
my favorite '90s R&B group is
Mm-hmm.
Tony.
Yep.
He done it. He
Especially
did.
them with
He done
DJ
it
Quick.
again. He done it again.
Yep.
So I had to look that up. After, and I have the soundtrack and I've listened to it multiple times. But that scene is just so good. And I remember the first time I'm looking at this guy with an electric guitar, I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on? Like, when I first saw it, I was like, and then I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. That's such a cool scene. And just it's so much to look at. And I mean, the visuals are so awesome. And I found out something about that scene. It wasn't in his original script. He came up with that, like, I want to say he wrote that in a few days before shooting. So he came up with that later in the process. I'm like, that's like the whole movie almost right there. That scene. He felt like it needed this one more thing, and that's when that scene got put in. So, shout out to Ryan Coogler, man. He's in his bag, man, with that scene. But yeah, let's break down that. What are some things that you go ahead, John? Because what are some things you noticed?
Yeah. So, okay. So, like Jen mentioned it earlier, right? How, and then I'm like how the ending scene made her cry. That scene made me cry. Heavy tears. So for me, the only thing that makes me cry is beautiful music. So just it's getting to me now. Like that's the only thing that can make me cry, because what it does. So what well done music is, like, to me, the best compliment I can give an artist is that was beautiful. That's the best compliment I can give, because what it did to my spirit and my whole being. Right. So that to me is music in its purest form. It's just art. So what that did, the technical 360 whole movement of it, and then that whole Wonder shot, that was like a 5+ minute scene. So just the technical, coordination, everything that goes within that is nuts. Like, I can't wait to see the behind the scenes of it. But
I've seen it.
So, right, just so when you're in IMAX, and I'm pretty sure this is only IMAX, like I said earlier, that had a whole 360 sound system, right? IMAX has all of that, like 13.1 surround sound that needs to be specifically edited for IMAX theaters. You only can get that in IMAX theater, right? So, like, you have to be there, and then when that move, that's a whole 360 wraparound shot, and then it kind of moves into like a drone crane shot as well. Just the cinematography and the direction of that shot is insane. That's where you can go over that probably 10 hours breaking down every moving part of the cameras in there. But just to keep it, regular, the sound design of that is some of the best I've ever heard. Like, to me, that scene, the reason why it made me cry is just combined of what it was, the music, how they talked about in the beginning, just how music transcends the generations and all that. But then how that did that shit. I mean, that whole scene is just, you got him playing. So you get the early blues slave music. Then you get the natives coming in, right? Playing that, which is similar to the African stuff, which we brought over. And when we merged with the natives, right? And how we have certain cultures too. So all of that just melded in, and you get the Jimi Hendrix looking cat. It moves into the big boy Run DMC dudes, into the 90s gangster stuff. And it's just, dudes mixing, and all of that is one continuous shot. I don't know if they had actors moving in and out. I don't know. I need to see the behind the scenes. But that combination of just genius, and, man, you have everything going on there. And the fact that Coogler there's not, I've seen a lot of movies. You guys seen more than me, especially you on Kinte, but I've never seen a scene like that. That's something that you use modern technology and just every form of creative expression, from visual effects to sound design to film cinematography to acting to direction to art direction to costume design. It encompasses everything that we've figured out as a human to create media, is all in that scene. So it was overwhelming for me. And then I couldn't, at the end of that, I just was like, oh shit, I just started crying. And it kept going, so I was like, it's beautiful, it's just, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
they shot that in 3 separate parts over I think it took them like a day to film each one of those parts.
Mhm.
And the reason that I was saying that this is so technically perfect is because they had the IMAX camera moving the whole time, right? So that you know that everything is constantly in motion. But it's the same sweep of the camera each time with a different film segment in it. So that's how you get people coming in and out of the scene. And you never see that it looks any different at all, because the technical the perfection of the measurements for where the camera was, it never deviates. So each time that they did that scene with the people coming in and out and the music going all the way through, it's basically 3 different composition shots, but you never feel that way because it's always taking exactly the same track each time. And that is what made that so perfect. I mean, not forget, but on top of that, the choreography, which was absolutely stunning, but then having
Mhm.
every single actor have to have the mark where they had to be in order to make this make sense was just an enormous undertaking. And then to shoot it each time with that level of precision is just it's truly remarkable. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I mean, it's it's one of the best moments of obviously that film, but any film I've seen in a long time.
I
And,
Yeah.
absolutely agree.
yeah, I just think it's another aspect, and then I love the transition out of it when we now
Yeah.
see Remick, and we see the other two that are with him. Um, let's talk about Remick for a minute. Um, One thing I have to give Ryan Coogler a lot of credit for is he's very good with villains. His villains
Yeah.
are really, really, really done very well. And one thing I like about Remick is that he's a villain, but he's almost not a villain in a way,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. He's almost like an anti hero. Yeah.
Yeah,
Low
and
key.
and he's like,
Yeah, 'cause
yeah, go ahead.
he has he has a design, he has a plan, and it's in and of itself, it's not a bad plan. He wants to
Hmm.
unite everybody together. But the problem is, like like any demagogue or dictator, it has to be his way. There's no freedom of choice
Right.
with his plan. But if you all come together, we're all vampires together, that puts an end to all hate and strife. You know, we're united. We're just sucking blood. But he's
Right.
Hmm.
got he's got his own vision of how the world should be. And is it racism wouldn't be there anymore?
Right.
Okay, uh, it would be love of a sort. So he's evil, but he's not totally evil. He's not comic book evil. He's layered.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
like that about the villain. Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
and the
playing.
performance is fantastic.
Yeah, that guy
O'Connell.
was good, man. That guy
Yeah,
Yeah.
was
He was
he was
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
He's good.
He killed that role to where it's
yeah,
like, you know what? I see what you're talking about. And that's the sign, like I said, that's excellent writing where you make a villain like that, but he ain't really a villain. Like
I love
right.
the I
another
love.
example.
Mhm.
Okay. Also, another example I could think about that was Mickey Rourke in Immortals. Like how
Huh.
good of a villain
Okay.
he was. Like, so he was like a believable villain. Like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
you know what? This guy is an asshole and he tortures people, but I could kind of get behind the reason. I can get behind why he's doing it, and that's
yeah.
just when
Even
you write a really good character. Yeah.
even
Thanos. Yeah.
even even Hitler liked dogs. I mean,
Nah,
Yeah.
If
you know,
Exactly.
Larry David.
if you go to the I'm sure everybody knows this by now, but just in case you don't, if you go to the original Spotify list for Sinners, you come up with all of this unpublished anyplace else backstory information about Remick. The Irish ship that was a plague ship, and one person escaped, and a bunch of things that sort of allude to the Irish aspect of all of this, and it's only on the Spotify playlist that you can find this. So that was super cool. But when we first see Remick, if you notice, he looks like he has come down from the sky, like he was flying.
Exactly, like he appeared there. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that too. Like, okay, either it's just Dawn just happened, or it's almost like he appeared here, or So I kind of have to watch that again because I haven't seen the movie once to see. Okay, what's going on?
I think I figured what happened is that he was in his wherever place he's in when it's daylight. I think he was forced out of it. I think that's
by the Indians.
That's why he was. That's why he was smoking.
Exactly what was happening. Yes, but it gives that idea of him coming
because it was still day
above. It gives a lot of fallen angel kind of
exactly.
And
great shot too, by the way.
Yeah, that's amazing shot. He just falls up, and it's like, yo, what the hell? Wait, this is because I'm like, wait, this is this type of movie now? What? That's the first time you see that otherworldly metaphysical shit. I mean, stuff. It wasn't that, and then and I'm like, what the fuck? What is this dude Goku? Like, wait, what? It's like Superman coming down from Krypton or something. What the hell? Right? And yeah. Well, go ahead.
I thought another thing that was interesting was that they limited the powers of the vampires.
Right.
Because they were able to, the heroes were able to go toe to toe with them, which we all know no normal person can go toe to toe with a vampire.
Yeah, and you need to be Blade.
But Blade's like a vampire. No, what's
exactly.
He's he ain't quite. He's not immortal. He gets old, but he can do everything they can do and better. That's the thing about Blade. But they kept the vampires their power at a lower level. Like in Interview with the Vampire, right? When Lestat puts his fist through that dude's head, and you go, how do you fight something that can do that?
Right.
You can't fight that. But they were able to do it, but it made it more interesting that they kept them the vampire's physicality, they kept it at a level that a human being could contend with,
Yeah, it gets more grounded, more realistic, yeah.
Yeah.
The movie would have been, it would have been like comic book, and you would have now it would have been like, okay, man, what's this, the Marvel movie or something now? Now you got all these supernatural guys, and they would have just wrecked everybody in there, right? Like, bullets don't work on them. All that John Wick stuff he was doing, they're like, nah, bro, you getting your head ripped off. But
and that's
it is also Remick who tells them at the end that it was just by happenstance, meaning marvelous synchronicity, that he chose the house that had the Klan's members in it, and that he, by drinking their blood and now knowing all of their memories, discovered the plot for the KKK to come back at the very end. And it's that kind of full circle villain that made the movie so remarkable, because that little tiny thing cinched his introduction to the film to the very end of the film's resolution, and it made so much sense. Really good.
No,
yeah,
I love the first scene where Remick and the other two are playing in front of Cornbread, and that whole scene is so well done. And I like when he says, "Oh, you're not gonna let me in? Is it because of
Yeah, yeah. He's like, no, we got the music too, man. We just want to sing. We just want to play. And then
we want to sit in. We want to sit in. Like when that was one of the reasons why Miles Davis used to turn his back on the audience, because all the white guys were sitting out there trying to figure out his fingering. You know, we just want to sit in. And when we sit in, we just want to take everything you got, including your soul. You know.
Hey, you know what?
They were trying to find out Miles's fingering.
Yeah. But right. And Jen alluded to that earlier. Pretty much, that is Coogler was real slick with this, and people gonna miss it. Of course, the anti-woke crowd is gonna pick it up, but they're still gonna miss it. Just like how Get Out did. That's an excellent metaphor for I really don't like using the term, but it's in this case that's what it is. It's a cultural appropriation by the music industry.
Yes,
That's what they were.
absolutely.
Yeah, let me come in and steal your shit. Like, and then we're gonna be cool, we're gonna smile in your face. And I went, who said it? I'm gonna give y'all some. Uncle Kinte knows this. Mob Deep. He goes, we rob land like white man, plan to overthrow your whole shit while shaking your hand. Yeah, like old Mob Deep lyric. That's pretty much what was going on. But then Namick, right, or whatever his name is, he was so good at the manipulation tactics, just like a record exec or a Hollywood. And Coogler put that in there. It was like blatant in your face, but not really. If you don't understand the energy in the industry, you're gonna miss it. But Uncle Alvin, you really know how corrupt the industry is, right? With your story. And I tell people that story, the whole Scorpion King story. I tell people that a lot when Aunt Didi told me and when Denise told me that. And I was like, yeah, that's Hollywood, right? And even Uncle Kinte, when you was talking about what happened to Jorge, right? And the whole man, that's Hollywood. And then hearing that just the way these fools, they did the same thing. I was like, man, they did that to my uncle. They did that to somebody else. And then, so Coogler, he really put that in there. So it's like, that was excellent. Get Out did the same thing too. But like, and that's really who they were. Even though Namick was like real slick about it, he had his own agenda. He wasn't, but in the end, he was like a dictator. It's about conquer, really, and then assimilating the whole culture into his own thing.
That's what it was. You're gonna come over to him, but you're gonna leave everything that you are behind. It's almost like being a trumper or something. It's the same sort of thing. Yeah, you're gonna get to walk in this light, but everything that makes you human, everything that's good about you, you're gonna leave that. You're gonna lose that. In fact, it won't even it's not even important anymore. Yeah, after you do it for a while, you'll totally forget that that's how you were. It's like being a drug addict and sitting up trying to remember what it was like before you became a drug addict. And you can't, you can't remember it until you I'm coming up on 36 years. What am I talking about? March 17th was 36 years for me. Okay. So I've been clean and sober longer now than I got loaded.
Wow.
And it's like I can remember now how it was before I started. I remember how it felt before I started getting high. And what he's promising is oblivion. In a way, it's like immortality and oblivion, because you ain't gonna be who you are no more. That's done.
The thing that makes this so sad is that Remick had this done to him. And so Remick is passing on the sins of the father in the exact same way that he's trying to pass on to everybody else. And he's using the same exact manipulation. In fact, I think when Grace Chow, who's the person
incredible, by the way. She is incredible. Right? I loved her.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Li Jin Lee.
Yeah.
Is that who she is? Li Jin Lee. When her husband comes to the door and she's like, well, he says to her, hey, we don't owe these people anything. Let's just go. Let's just get out of here. Like, what do we owe to these people? It is absolutely the same exact hypocrisy that he's using on her that Remick basically is using on everybody else to say, hey, you know what do you owe these people? You don't owe them anything. Come be free with us. And like I said, this idea, this implicit manipulation, but also the absolute horror of having to relive this generational trauma over and over and over again is exactly why the movie works. Because we know, not to get too spoilery, but we know from the very
we can be spoilery now.
Okay, well, listen, if you guys haven't seen the movie and you don't stay till the end, stay till the end, like until the lights come on.
Yeah. People were leaving. And they messed up. Yeah. I saw people leaving. I'm like, yo, this shit ain't over yet. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because if you miss if you missed that final scene with Buddy Guy, you
Yep.
yeah, that was great. I did
Yep.
not expect that at all.
When I
That's
Yeah.
saw
truly
Buddy
good.
Guy, I smiled. I was like, "What? He's
Yeah.
in this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
tripping out because I didn't say I've only a friend of mine. I was talking about BB King back in the day. He was like, "Nah, man, Buddy Guy showed up on the stage with him and that and was really going in and playing with, like showing him how to play." I went, "Well," he was like, "Nah, check this out." So he showed me a whole scene of like the BB King and Buddy Guy going in, and Buddy Guy just going walking up on him like, "Yeah, dog, this is how you play," and he just killed it. And I was like, "Oh shoot!" So he introduced me to Buddy Guy around like 2011 or something. So but I forgot how he looked. And then, this was a long time ago. So
Right.
I didn't realize he was in it until the end. I was like, Buddy Guy, the guitar guy? I was like, where was he? And I talked to Kinte. I was like, where was he? He was like, that was him at the end. Oh, he's the really old dude. I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
only seen him play once. I was like, no wonder why. I was like, oh, that dude was a beast. So yeah, that was
Well,
amazing. But go ahead.
and the story behind him being in it was, uh, um, they were working on. Ryan was working on it, and he kept saying, "I want someone like Buddy Guy to be this character." And then he said, "You know what? Well, he's alive. Let me see if I can get Buddy Guy."
Yeah.
So he
And
reached out.
he's
He reached-
alive is a key thing there. Okay.
Right.
Because if you think about it, BB's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else is gone. Buddy's like the last man standing.
Yeah.
What is
so
Buddy?
then-
Is he like in his 90s or he got to be 80 something, right?
He's probably in his 90s, tell you the truth. Because
Man,
I mean,
he's still-
but check this out. He's
He's 88 now.
He didn't
Okay.
know he didn't know who Ryan Coogler was or anything. He's an older guy, right? And it was
What?
his grandkids. He mentioned to his grandkids that this guy named Ryan Coogler wants me to do a role in a movie, and then his grandkids were like, "You got to do it!"
Straight up.
So that's why he did it. Was like his grandkids were like, "Oh no, you got to do it, Grandpa."
Everybody else is gone. Albert King is gone. Benny King is gone. Muddy Waters is gone. John Lee Hooker is gone. Howlin' Wolf is gone. Imagine if Howlin' Wolf would have been doing that. But anyway, that's just. But
I just wanted to mention that Buddy
Well,
Guy
Dan Aykroyd's still with
still
us.
Buddy Guy is
Stop
still
it.
performing right now. In fact, Buddy Guy is performing in Texas. I think maybe it was yesterday, but Buddy Guy is still performing. Like
yeah.
that is so crazy.
Yeah, that's like
Somebody
BB
needs to go
King.
ask him for real if he made a deal with the devil at the crossroads.
Right,
Somebody needs to
like-
ask him for real. Like, did you actually? Because I think that might be.
Yeah, like BB King, right? I remember when BB King was in the hospital before he passed, the fool was on tour. Like, I was like, wait a minute, this dude is 88, 90 or whatever he was, and a week before he was in the hospital, he was touring. So I'm
Yeah.
like, he went to the hospital during the tour at that age, and he's still going. I'm like, yo, that
Hey.
right there is a musician to the death. I wouldn't be
Hey,
shocked
there
if
you
that
go.
dude
Wait
was
a
on his
minute.
deathbed. If he was on his
Wait.
deathbed with the guitar playing something like, I'm gonna finish this lick before I go. Like he's one of those guys. Like who was it?
Wait,
Jay
wait.
Dilla, right?
That's what I was about
On
to
his
say.
deathbed making
I was
beats.
about to say Jay Dilla made beats until.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then I always say this is a little
From
morbid,
Detroit.
but
He's
I
from
was like,
Detroit, by the way. He's
right?
from Detroit.
I always, so yeah. So I was like, man, what was Jay Dilla's? What beat was he working on before he died? That's what I want to know. 'Cause then that's a different.
It was the hospital monitor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
No,
He was like, "Oh wait, I like that."
Dude, I want to know the last note before he
I
passed.
feel
Like,
you.
what was that last note? And I wanted that energy because it's like, what the hell do you make right before you died at that moment of euphoria, whatever the hell people talk about? I was like, what is that? And putting that in music form, yeah, and you making a beat or something like that is
I see the lights.
that
so I
right
had to grab
there.
the mic.
Yeah.
I
It's like, wait a
gotta
minute.
tell you guys this. My white boy kid, right? I mean, my family is like white beyond white, right? So
The
like
whitest
my
kid we know.
like my ancestry comes back as like 99% Northern European or some crazy thing.
Mhm.
Okay, but my kid who grew up learning to play the guitar. And when I say that he learned how to play the guitar, I mean like he picked up a guitar and has that kind of ear that lets him recreate tonality without having to actually study it. He just picks it
Yeah,
up
people
and
I
he gets
hate.
it, right?
Those
Yeah,
people
Yeah,
yeah.
I
right.
hate.
Me too.
I'm like
So
that. Yeah.
he, so
Sorry, but
he,
it's something you're born with. But yeah, that's me. Like
exactly.
I process tone. Just to piggyback off that real quick, I process tone, and I thought it was normal, but the way I hear music is exactly how it sounds, and I replicate it in my head the exact tonality. Like Uncle Alvin, you probably understand this too. But when I make music too, like that's also I've been making music since the year 2000. Uncle Kinte can tell you about that. He was there when I first started. But
I
like
remember.
so. Yeah, right. From where I started and where I am now. But anyway, so and Uncle Alvin, I don't think you ever heard none of my music. We got to go in on that. But anyway,
Okay.
so I process sounds, and I think a lot of us do too. The ones who's really into music, producers and all that. I can hear the tonal difference between about 5 hertz. Like most of the times, I tune by ear. Like I can hear the variations in the way the sound. Like right, Uncle, when you tune in a guitar, you can use harmonics to check it. Your E, D, G, B, and A are right. So when I found out that there's a resonance wave and it moves a little faster when you're out of tone and a little bit slower when you're in tone, I can hear that. So and I do know a lot of us who are like that probably can do that, but I realized
I need the machine.
Yeah, and I understand. Like, I actually want to, and I'm going to let you go back to that, Jen. I'm going to be quick. I actually want to do like a research paper on people that are tone deaf because it sounds messed up, but me and my friend, right, Josh, right? He, we had this friend who was tone deaf and he just would not put right sounds together. So we would attempt to mimic his beats, but we are so caught up on frequencies and how stuff needs to sound that as hard as it is for him to stay on key, it's as hard as for us, or it's not harder to go off key. Like it was weird. Yeah, and then so like I don't understand people that's tone deaf. Like I'll be like, all right, so the note is and they'll be like, I said no, and they go, I went, no, it's I'm like, no, that's not what I'm doing. And some people cannot hear that resonance between flat and. But anyway, so yeah, Jen, I understand what you're talking about. I found out it's something you're born with. But go ahead.
Okay, so we actually have to close out this show. Would you guys be willing to focus on the last part of the film in another podcast?
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, like maybe in like 2 days or so, like that. Because
sure.
Okay.
Okay. You guys have an advantage because you've seen it 3 times. I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
I got to see it again.
Saw it once too.
Okay, let's do that.
I got to see it again, and I got to see it now. Now I got to see it in IMAX. Okay, you have to listen to.
You got to wait till the 14th though to see it in IMAX because they pulled it out because of Thunderbolts, but then they're gonna throw. They're gonna throw the new Final Destination under the bus and then put Sinners in those IMAX screens. So
good, because I want to see it in IMAX. You guys made me feel like I only got like a half a glass of lemonade. I want the full load now.
All right, so before we go, I gotta ask this one stupid question, and it's you just gotta say either or. We'll start off with you, Lil John. 100 Men or a silverback gorilla?
Here we go.
If you got people like Uncle Alvin, that's the guy who talks to me, Michael Jai, and a whole bunch of people. I think if you got a bunch of badasses with a tactical advantage, we can figure out a way to take them out. But if you got a bunch of wimps, it's a wrap.
Okay. Well,
all right,
John, thank you for including me in such illustrious company. But
not for real, dude. And then I told you about it. You started me on my martial arts journey with the whole Wing Chun thing. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Hey, I started you on your musical jersey with Wang Chung.
I ain't coming nowhere near nothing that is generating over 2,000 pounds per square inch in a punch and can bench press 4,000 pounds and has a stronger bite force than a lion. No. Because see, what nobody's really the thing about it is this: who's going to be the first to run in and, like my man said, get their arm ripped off and get beat with the wet end? Who's going to be that guy? Okay, because if
it ain't gonna be
whatever, like remember that scene in Captain America when they're in the elevator and he says,
Yep.
"Well, before we get started, is there anybody who wants to get off?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
See, I'm getting off. Like, stop this motherfucker. No.
Oh, remember Jack Reacher, the movie where he's all like, remember, you asked for this.
Yeah. See,
Because I keep seeing animations of
he says, pay the bill. And he's like, I'll do it afterwards. He said, you won't be able to afterwards.
Right. I keep seeing animations of the gorilla just rearing everybody out, but it's 100. We can't come out one at a time. Well, go ahead.
Another thing is that it's like one of the things I learned in martial arts is that you have something called a primate brain and you have something called a reptile brain. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I got into it with a guy one night in a bar and he pulled a knife and he's getting ready to stab me because I said his name wrong. Oh, wow. He's a Korean guy. And I said his name wrong. And of course, that didn't have anything to do with it. He was mad because he got robbed by a black person, by 5 black guys. Okay, 5 black guys robbed me in New York. All right. So that's what he was mad about. Okay. But he was using that as an excuse. I said his name. He was going to stab me to death. And my primate brain kicked in going, wait, he's going to try and kill me behind. I said his name wrong. And then the reptile brain said, hey, stupid. He's trying to kill you. Okay. You're running in on an animal that is he's one step away from that all the time. Okay. Right. Like who you run in, you see the first guy running and get his face just clean ripped off. Okay. You see another guy get slapped so hard it breaks his neck. Okay. And you see another guy just literally get his arm ripped off. Okay. No, I'm not going in there. No.
Not one by. See, that's why I agree with you because you the one. He's like, yeah, we want to get home and get up out of there. Like me, I don't approach nothing. Well, I'm more scared of knives than I am of guns. Right? Somebody got a knife, I'm running, or I got to do what I got to do, but I don't want to be bothered with no knife. But it's 100 people, so that's the only saving grace we got. And you cannot attack them one-on-one, and we're smarter than them. I think that's overwhelming odds.
Wait a minute.
But a lot of people are going to die.
Some people
are going to die. That's for real. But yeah. I think we can overwhelm 100 badasses can overwhelm one gorilla.
John, it's debatable. Some people I know, it's debatable if they're smarter than the gorilla. The gorilla might be actually smarter.
I think if you're in on this thing, you're not smarter than a gorilla. Okay. No, I have sparred some really dangerous people in my day. Okay. But I've never sparred anybody hitting at 2,000 PSI.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the thing. If he just flicks you, he's breaking something, and then he gets mad, and it's a wrap. Like he's gonna punch 3 of. Yeah, I get it.
I remember,
but it's 100. It's 100 guys.
I got jumped in junior high school by 7 guys one time, right?
Oh, wow.
And they cleaned my clock. Okay, they did. But I learned a vital lesson in that situation is that wherever you swing, you're gonna hit something. They have to be careful not to hit each other. That's your one advantage in a multiple attack. See, wherever you swing, you hitting something. If you understand human anatomy and the silhouette of the pressure points of a human being are like engraved in your brain. In other words, what I'm saying, top lip, nose, windpipe, solar plexus, temple, jaw hinge, kidneys, liver, stuff like that. If that's in your brain, wherever you swing, you hitting and you doing some damage. Now, if you hitting with 2,000 psi. You can't overlook that.
Yeah, that's
We've
breaking
never-
every bone we have. Yeah, when he's
Alvin,
put. Yeah.
Alvin,
no.
if the 7 guys jumped you, if you had seen Ip Man, if Ip Man had came out earlier, then you would have been able to take him out.
Okay. See, one of the good things about studying martial arts is learning fact from fiction. Okay.
Exactly.
No,
Wait, that's
no.
a documentary. That movie.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And especially using something like Wing Chun, which is so linear in the first place. Wing Chun is not the Wing Chun is not the system to use in a multiple attack situation. It's not.
Exactly.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
you're from
The only
Detroit.
thing- yeah.
You're from Detroit. You should have used that Detroit threat management thing.
Well,
Detroit never survived training.
the thing that you have to bring into mind on that is that they were from Detroit too. Okay, so,
That's true.
no.
That's
So,
true.
I've had this debate with people. You know what? 100 against 1.
Exactly.
Eventually, they could wear it down. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna overrun them. It's 100.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Because the simple mathematically, it's 100.
Yeah.
Even though he's that strong and all that, he's going to get overwhelmed, and he's not freaking the Hulk. Yeah, he's going to take out 20 people.
Easily.
But he's going to get tired. Overwhelming odds. Eventually, going to go down. It's like how ants attack predators. Just like how ants do it, right? Ants overwhelm, and it will jump in the mountain.
This is what you should have done, Alvin. This is what you should have done. He's about to show you what you should have done. Watch.
Yeah, okay.
Wait. Okay, now he's here. This is what you should have done. See? Look at that. You done that, you'd have been out of it.
Maybe. But also bear in mind, they are not trying to really hurt him. I know that guy, by the way. He's here in Detroit. Yeah. I know him.
Yeah,
wow. He's good. The stuff he teaches is very good.
Yeah.
I had Andre.
Yeah, see, that's why people have been clowning. But people have been clowning him, but he does teach us some good stuff. You just gotta be careful with that gun shit because you probably don't get shot. But it does some of it. What he does, a lot of it works. That movement system is actually on point. Like right, like what you said. A lot of people talk shit about certain martial arts, and that's what was dope about what Uncle Alvin taught me. He taught me the concept of Wing Chun and the base, and that's what I teach other people. And I combine it with boxing because the Wing Chun center line punch is weak as hell, right? So you combine that with a cross, but with the Wing Chun defense. So if you go like this, like that, and then come back like that, just that whole bow, which Jeet Kune Do is, works. But you gotta combine it with what works. Like, but anyway, so that
Jen is like, what the hell are they talking?
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
But we're gonna talk. But I just want to say thank you guys so much. I do want to come back at some point soon and finish up the end of it. So I just want to thank Alvin and John and of course Jen, and we will see you very soon. Thank you so much. We're getting back into the thick of things, doing podcasting. So you guys have a great rest of your week, and God bless.
Yep. And we'll see you guys around. I want to hop on more with y'all. So it was great talking to all y'all. And we definitely got to finish the combo. It's a lot.
John, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of your martial